Extra long scream today because we're so
Why?
Because we're so busy. This
I know.
This is episode 64 of the Have Aloha Will Travel podcast. I am your co-host, Kevin Allen. With me, as always,
Catherine Toth Fox. Hello, we are with Hawaiʻi Magazine. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. You're still here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us and rate us and let us know how you feel about our podcast. Only positive things, please. Just kidding. The reason I'm opening with this is because we actually are going to answer questions from listeners.
We are indeed.
And other folks on our social media. Because I think it's good to connect with all of you sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we sent out a call for questions, I think, on our Instagram at Hawaiʻi Magazine. And we got a lot of questions. So we're pretty excited about that.
By the way, have you been surfing? You know there's another swell coming.
I know. I'm not going to surf today to rest my body because...
it came down though. It's not. Yesterday was pretty small.
Yeah, yesterday was still fun sized when I caught it, but the day before was all time, I gotta say. My goodness gracious.
We scratched our head at the same time. It looked very strange.
Did we really? Well, that was on
yes,
sync.
we did.
We planned that out ahead of time.
Yeah, there's some good surf coming up too also soon.
Yeah, no one asked that, but we had to let them know. Summer's rolling back around. Yeah, and actually everyone won't even know it, but I'll be on a surf trip coming up relatively soon. To Mexico. I'll be out for a little over, just about a week. So fingers crossed we can stay safe and everything goes.
Man, it's been crazy with COVID, everywhere.
Oh yeah. Especially in Hawaii. We were recording this, take away the magic a little bit, but we're recording this on August 13th and we had just over 1,000 COVID cases today.
Yeah, it's our record. I mean,
islands.
It's almost double what our record was, which was 600.
Right.
And that was a record almost double of what the other record was. We
are breaking all the worst kinds of records right now. But
it is crazy.
It is crazy. And it's also crazy how many questions we got from you guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much for giving us some questions that we can answer, and we have a big list right here. It's about 4 pages long. So we're just gonna jump right into it. I will be calling out people's no, you know what? Kat, real editorial question right here. Do you think I should call out the usernames on air, or do you think I should? Yeah, okay. All right.
What do you think?
Probably. I don't think it's a bad thing. All right. You guys are all going to get shouted out here then. Thanks for asking us questions. This one is kind of an easy one, I think, for you, Kat, especially. But we both know what's the best national parks here in Hawaii. That's from McFly 2510.
So all these are on Instagram, by the way. Just FYI, this was a call out on Instagram stories. So what's the best national park? I mean, we have 5, believe it or not. It sounds crazy, but we do. So this is just a personal recommendation. I know you just came back from Haleakala National Park.
I did.
Also a great national park. I'm a big fan of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. It celebrated its 105th anniversary this year.
You're something of a geologist yourself too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I think the park has something for everyone. I mean, I like to hike. This park has 150 miles of hiking trails, and it's really of all ranges. I mean, you can do a really simple birding. Oh, I'm also a birder. A really simple 1 mile loop trail and see a bunch of native birds. Or you can walk across the crater floor at Kilauea Iki, which is super amazing. I think if you've never seen a volcano before or never been, I mean, who has it's not something you would just have around in your backyard. To see it, I think, is just so mind-blowing. And the fact that Kilauea is still one of the most active volcanoes in the world, and it's not erupting right now, but it was up until several months ago.
Right.
When are you ever going to get that opportunity? So the national park is about 330 acres. It's huge. It goes from sea level to the top of Mauna Loa, which is the world's tallest volcano. at 13,000 feet and change. And so there's just a vast like variety of terrain and climates and just things to do. And I didn't know this until very recently. They're in the process of getting their dark sky certification, which some national parks like Bryson Canyon National Park has this, but what it means is that it becomes like dark sky certified. And I guess there are visitors who like travel around looking for dark sky certified places. So it means very minimal light pollution. If there is lighting on in and around that particular park, it's a certain kind of lighting that doesn't distract from seeing the night sky. Yeah. And so Haleakala is great for, as you did, the stargazing, and you're up at you know, above the clouds. But you know, that's a far drive. You have to make reservations. It's kind of a thing.
$30
but at Volcanoes
as well.
Oh, and you have to pay, and it can be a little crowded.
Yeah.
But at Volcanoes National Park, which is open 24 hours, you can just like roll up.
Yeah.
You're at sea level, and as long as like the skies are clear,
Right.
you can see the Milky Way. So I mean, it's got like something for everyone. I feel like if you're kind of an outdoorsy person. So
yeah,
highly recommend McFly 2510 Hawaii Volcanoes National Park.
Yeah, and just kind of piggybacking off of a question we are probably going to answer later, I really like Haena State Park. That's definitely one of my favorite parks.
It's not a national park.
Shit, is it really not?
It's a state park. You just said Haena State Park.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
People, well, why don't you just talk about it? That was what question was that? What?
What is the difference? I mean, like, you know a lot about national parks, and what's the difference
One
between
is like
park and a state
federally managed and run.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, the Park Service, National Park Service manages it. And a state park is state run. So very different. They have different guidelines and different, I don't know, it's just different. It's different. Wait, Chachama. No, I'm saying this wrong. CHMA. Chachma. Is that a thing?
Maybe.
Right. Chachma wants to know, how can I get a parking pass to hike at Honolua Falls on Kauai? So that's where going to you with the Haena State Park.
Yeah, this is my segue into Haena State Park.
Yes.
The real reason I was doing this, not to be confused about what a national park is. Yeah, so you can make so getting into Haena State Park, they've made it so you need like a reservation to get in ahead of time, essentially, especially if you're driving. But even walk-ins, you need a reservation ahead of time. So you have to go online, and you can go to gohaena.com. It's best to reserve as soon as you can, you know, ahead of time, because it's very difficult to get in the park, and they do limit how many people can go to Haena State Park, just to avoid like overcrowding the park and over tourism and all that kind of stuff. And it's per vehicle, so you just select your date. Their website's really great. You can check the availability. You select your date. You can select how many people are in your car. If you're Kama'aina, you get a reduced. I think you actually. It might be a reduced fee, or you might even get it for free. I think
it's free.
I think it is free. But yeah, if you are not Kama'aina, if you are a visitor, you will have to pay. It's a pretty nominal fee. And then you can park your car, get into Haena State Park, and then you can go to Honolua Falls, which is along the Kauai Trail. It is a long hike to the falls. Like, be fully prepared. That is like half a day. That's maybe 3-4 hours one way, and then 3-4 hours back. Funny story. One of my first trips with Hawaiʻi Magazine, I was still an intern, and we did the whole hike to Honolua Falls for a video. And I came back from that hike so sunburned and just completely roasted, because I was really not expecting just how bad it was going to be. Or not bad. I mean, it's obviously it's a beautiful hike, and the falls are amazing, but it's a tough hike, and there's a lot of inclines and declines. There's a lot of stairs you're gonna have to deal with. Don't feel bad if you turn back at the beach. A lot of people do. Sorry, Ami's making an appearance. Ami.
Hi, Ams. Wouldn't you say it's like at least half a day? I mean,
easily.
It's not something you can do before breakfast. I mean, it's like you gotta plan.
You gotta commit and bring a lot of water, because there's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of shade, especially once you start cutting into the ridges and going to the falls. You get a little bit more shade because you're under tree coverage a lot. But when you're hiking along the coastline, all right, I gotta let you down. When you're hiking along the coastline, there's really not a lot of tree shade or tree coverage, so
Right.
it's pretty easy to get dehydrated. Ami's looking
Also,
really
if you are going to Ha'ena State Park, I mean, this is because I just came back from Kauai not that long ago. There is still road work on Kuhio Highway getting into Honolulu. So
Oh,
you
it's so
gotta
good.
check, yeah, you have to check the Kauai Department of Transportation website regularly so
I
you
see.
know when the road is open and closed because there is only one way into Honolulu. So if you like have your reservation but you don't get there in time, anyway, just check the road closures, make sure you get there. If you have to get to Honolulu early, that's great. There's plenty of places to like eat, you can
Yeah,
cruise, you can
there's
like
a
go to the
lot to
beach. You
do.
know what I mean? There's lots to do. So
Yeah,
yeah, don't feel like, you just like anyway, plan ahead, make your
absolutely.
reservation. And this reservation system, by the way, I was just talking with folks in the travel industry here. That's going to become more of the norm. So Hanama Bay, which we're going to segue to. Look at this. We're just like segueing
Boom, boom,
everything together.
boom.
What's happening? They require a reservation now. And that was that just started because of COVID when they reopened. But they're looking at this style of like making reservations like Diamond Head. I think that's another place, Diamond Head Monument
Yep. You need
State
a
Park.
reservation. Absolutely.
There, yeah. So I mean, it's something that I think you're going to see more of as you frequent Hawaii in the future, which I think
Honestly,
is a good thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing either, the reservation
Yeah,
system. I mean, it does require a little bit more pre-planning, and it might be kind of like a bummer if you show up without a reservation. But if you think about it, you're going to get like less crowded hikes. You're going to get, more open areas, less people around. You won't have to fight for parking. You're going to have a reserve.
right,
You're going to have a reservation. So I think
right.
it's a really good change. But please, Kat, make your segue.
Make my segue.
Honolulu, go ahead.
VFLOZ, I don't even want to try and pronounce this, had asked if what the best beaches are for kids and snorkeling on Oahu. I still think as far as snorkeling, because it's a protected marine sanctuary, like conservation area, Hanauma Bay is still, at least on Oahu, a guarantee you're going to see a lot of fish. And especially because it was closed for so long because of COVID, researchers had gone into the park during the closure and did notice, right, that the reefs were looking better. There was more abundance of fish. So
Mm.
I think, if you're gonna see the best that Hanauma Bay has to offer, it's now. They've also capped the limit to how many people can come into Hanauma Bay, and they also close the bay 2 times a week. It's like Tuesday and Wednesday instead of one day a week to let the bay rest. So there is a effort for conservation, preservation of the bay, and I think um, I just can't think of a better place to go where it's like a guarantee you're going to see a lot of different marine life.
Yeah.
That being said, there are other places to go and snorkel on Oahu. Um, it's interesting because I took my son, he's 4, to Kaimana Beach, and I just was like randomly one morning, we saw a lot of fish. Like I was
Did you?
surprised. Like, yeah, I mean, you'll see like when halalu or other kinds of fish are like awama, they come into Waikiki, but it was just like the water there is so crystal clear.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and it was really, I don't know. I mean, there's like a little bit of a reef kind of close to Kaimana Beach that you can kind of snorkel out to. It's nothing like what you're gonna see at Hanauma Bay, but
For
I
sure.
was pretty surprised. And then as far as like beaches for kids in general, Ala Moana Beach Park, it depends on how old these kids are, but Ala Moana Beach Park is great. There's Magic Island, which is like a secluded lagoon.
Very
If you're
safe.
out on the west, super safe. If you're
Yeah.
out on the west side, there's the Ko'olina lagoons. There's 4 of them that have access to the public. And they're also, no waves. It's very mellow. The thing about Ko'olina, though, there's no lifeguards. So I know for a lot of parents, that's kind of a big deal. There are restrooms, but there's no lifeguards. Um, Kualoa Beach Park is actually pretty nice if you're heading out toward the North Shore. That has lifeguards. So, that's what I look for. I look for places that have lifeguards, restrooms,
I have
lots
a
of
few
parking.
I have a few suggestions as well.
Go for
As
it.
a bit of a
Since
child
you're
myself,
since you're I was just gonna say, since you're the closest to age of a child,
and growing up
makes
on
you
the
an
North
expert.
Shore, Sharks Cove, the tide pools over there, are super
Hmm.
nice for kids. Like even if there are waves on the North Shore, it's so protected over there. I mean, it's really nice, and you can actually do a little bit of snorkeling, and you can see little fish every here and there. But again, it's not teeming with life. Although if you have a bit older kids, you can go into the main bay of Sharks Cove, and that has really great snorkeling for finding fish and all that kind of stuff. I also like Three Tables. It's a very small, kind of very family friendly little beach park that is right across the street from the Pupukea Foodland. So I like it. I really like it over there. Again, it's kind of protected. There's these shelf reef that kind of sit out in the water, and they, for the most part, they kind of take a lot of energy from the waves and that kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of my ones. Just kind of riding off your snorkeling question, we have another question from Steffi Lynn 15. She asked, where is the best place to go snorkeling on Maui? And I really like Molokini Crater.
I was just gonna say that's probably the best place. It's harder to get to, but
I think it is just definitive. I mean, I actually learned recently, Kat, I always forget the name of the bay. It's where they do the surf competition.
Honolua?
Honolua Bay is good for snorkeling, especially in the summertime when there are no waves. I've heard, I haven't gone personally, but I've heard that there's really great snorkeling there. But Molokini Crater is like insane. Like it is sorry, my cat, Ami.
What?
She's like laying against
what
the
is happening?
laptop screen, and it's like jiggling it back and forth because she's using it as a backrest now. But yeah, Molokini Crater, the water is like crystal clear. I mean, the fish there are like so undisturbed. Like when I went there, you can get really close to the fish and they don't even swim away. They just, there's these really awesome red pencil urchins at the bottom that really light up the water. And if the tour you're with, you will need a boat tour to get out there. The tour you're with, sometimes I'll go to the back of the Molokini Crater, the back wall, which is really deep water. And you can see some really, really cool aquatic life over there. We actually saw like a giant manta ray when we went, and the thing was massive. It was way too deep to really be able to get close to or anything, but we were watching from a safe distance. So I think if you're on Maui, you'll have to spend a little bit. You have to get a boat tour, but I think Molokini Crater is like really an awesome place.
Oh yeah, I think that's like a one. Not that's like that'll be like the best experience I think on your trip. Like you'll always remember
that'll be the highlight for
expedition.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. We had a question, another beach question from RBAIZ69.
Got a lot of these beach questions, I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's what we do here. This person wanted to know what is a beach or a kid-friendly beach on Kauai. And there are a lot of, like Honolua is great. I mean, it's, there's just a lot of beaches on Kauai. I'm going to say Poipu Beach Park.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
For a variety of reasons. I mean, there is like a protected cove. There's lots of things to do for any age. But I think if you're talking about like toddlers or like really young kids, I think Poipu Beach Park is great. There's a lot of factors that go into like taking a kid to the beach. That's why. So they have a lot of parking, which is great. They have a restroom. There's lifeguards, and these are all kind of critical things. There's food nearby. You're not in some isolated place. It's what I mean. Like all these things are.
You're like in the middle of Poipu. Like you're pretty much in the middle of town.
Right. It's almost always going to be sunny because it's on that side of the island. It's like Waikiki. The south sides of most of the islands in Hawaii tend to be sunny, right? Kona. And then there's a great playground there. That's the other thing. Yeah. So, I mean, for like, I guess because I have a 4-year-old, so he'll play at the beach, but then he wants to do something else. So if you have a kid like mine who's like ADD or something, I don't know what he is, but you can do different things. Like you don't all just have to stay at the beach. You can go run over there, and there's like a grassy field and a nice playground. And I don't know. I just feel like that place is great for kids.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's Poipu Beach.
I think
on the south side of Kauai.
If we want to age up from kids, I have a question from Rich B3443. What is the best thing?
Is this a brewery one?
No, it's the one for teenagers. What's the best thing to do with teenagers on vacation? And I just
don't bring them. I'm just kidding.
If you have the choice, keep them at home.
I'm just kidding. We love them.
Yeah, I just think surf lessons or like doing a quick little surf lesson thing. I remember when I was like at that age, like surfing was kind of like I wasn't good at it. I was also learning how to surf kind of during that time. But doing a surf lesson is really fun, and you kind of feel like as a teen, you kind of feel like not empowered, but like you're like, ah, cool, like this is like a cool sport thing that I'm doing. And a lot of the surf instructors are really friendly, and they are so good at talking to teens. If you want to meet someone who's like really great at talking to teens and like making them laugh and like open up, it's like these surf instructors. This is what they're trained to do. So there's a lot of different, Maui surfer girls on Maui. It's really fantastic. We've written about them. Uncle Sarat on the North Shore here. I'm Kat. There's a bunch in Waikiki, Face Surf School. There's so many to choose from. Obviously, do your research ahead of time, but I think that's a really fun thing to do with teens. I have a real quick question that we can answer super easily. It is, oh shoot, did I lose it? Where is it? Oh, what is MD King SLE says? What is the best source for Hawaii must-sees before taking a trip? It's Hawaii Magazine.
Oh, very good.
Especially we have our best of feature every year, and we have best of blogs out the wazoo. We have so many of these best of blogs. So if you're really looking for like what is the best thing to do in Hawaii, we have so many categories, and we've written so many blogs just about that specific thing. So you can check those out in the show notes.
For sure. There, this question came in, and I thought that was kind of an interesting question from Al Bigness, ALBIGNESS, who asked if you can see whales on Kauai in December. And the reason I thought that was interesting, it just never really occurred to me. We talk so much about seeing whales on Oahu and Maui especially. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of boat tour operators that focus on whale watching on those two islands. But yeah, do they go as north as Kauai? And they do. Yeah. So you can actually see whales from anywhere on any beach on Kauai. If you take a Napali boat tour, you have a good chance of seeing humpback whales if you're there between like November and March. Kilauea Lighthouse, which is on the north side of Kauai, is like a point. You can see whales off of that. People like the Kapa'a Lookout overlook, which is like between Kapa'a Town and Kealia Beach, and that's a great place to also see whales. I was surprised. I don't know. I had to look it up because I didn't realize.
It's not.
I assumed yes, but I wasn't sure. So
yeah, anyway, it's not really what they're known for, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
We have a question from JustJoe_13. I think this is kind of like a question that a lot of people ask us. Do you still have to wear a mask in Oahu or in Hawaii in general? Kat, you are the leading expert in all these changing guidelines that change.
On COVID. Oh my God.
I feel like you are the one that writes like all these news stories. You really.
I know.
It's always changing.
It's always changing.
It's always changing.
Even though right now we're kind of in the middle of like a huge surge, we also have like very high vaccination rates here. So this is all a factor in the restrictions and what tier we're in and all that. But right now, as of today, as of August 13th, masks are still, I guess there's a mask mandate for indoors, right? But outdoors, you don't need to. But we like to say that masks are not, they're the most effective when you couple that with social distancing. So even though you're wearing a mask, or even though you're outside, you're not wearing a mask, and you should still maintain like 6 feet, especially with the Delta variant, which is like super contagious. I feel like even 6 feet is probably not enough. But indoors, however, if you're going into a place of business, so a restaurant or retail place, it's really up to them to decide whether or not they require you to wear a mask before you come in. Just anecdotally, we've heard a lot of stories about people getting upset because I guess the mask rules for every state changes. It changes from state to state, county to county, city to city in some cases. And so people are really confused when they get here. To me, if it says to wear a mask when you come inside a store, just do it. It's their store. Just be respectful, and understand that, even if you're vaccinated, you can still carry the virus. So I think we're just trying to all be very, conscious of what, how we move around in these spaces. It's a weird time. So just follow the rules.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's all we can do. It's our actions that I think will help us get us through these
100%
unprecedented times. I've said that word so many times. Shucks, Cat, we're actually running out of time.
Really? Well, we have so many questions, but we didn't figure we were going to answer them all anyway.
Absolutely, which is why most likely we will be doing a part 2 to our Q&A.
Yes.
But you'll have time between us recording this one to our next one. So if you want to ask us questions, please do. You can shoot them to us by email. Honestly, you can just email me, kevina@hawaiimagazine.com. You can also instant message us on Instagram or Facebook. Yes, we do have people who look through those inboxes. So if you do have questions for us, please let us know. We may even get our awesome digital media manager, Kaylin, to do another shout out on Instagram for questions. So look out for that. Follow us at Hawaii Magazine on all of our social media platforms. You can always see more Hawaii Magazine content at hawaiimagazine.com. Please like and subscribe no matter what platform you're watching our podcast on. It's what we show our bosses.
Exactly.
Those what we show our bosses. So hopefully we can keep on doing this and ask and answering your awesome questions. And yeah, I think that is about it. We have a photo contest.
That's it, man.
Yeah, we have a photo
that's
contest.
right.
Please enter the photo contest. I have fruit flies in my apartment and they are driving me insane. Please enter our photo contest if you think you have really wonderful photos of Hawaii, which I'm sure you do. I mean, it's really hard to take a bad photo of Hawaii when you're in Hawaii. We have some awesome prizes going for that. You can see more on that in the show notes. I'll put the link in there for our blog post. But I think,
dude, you're cutting it close.
Oh, I know. I'm down to the minute. I think that is about it, though. So thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you.
Some of your questions, and we will be back in 2 weeks. Mahalo. Bye-bye.
Bye.